Coming up, autism. Is it real or just another excuse for kids these days to forget their manners?
I just spent most of the time testing Chris to see if he's autistic. Not overly affectionate. Screaming autistic lady in the waiting room. I don't know what you want. I don't know how to help.
What is this, a hamburger? A what? Why are there hamburgers in your underwear? Are you serious? How could there be... Oh my God! You're saying I have Asperger's?
Disability. Someone who has trouble speaking.
Has trouble interacting with people their own age.
Disabled kids.
Down syndrome. Mental deficiencies. Socially awkward.
Problematic. Devastating. Unfortunate.
Terrible. They're bad at communicating.
Retarded. Special needs. I would say challenged come to mind.
I work with students with disabilities and medical conditions at the university, and we provide academic accommodation. So when I think about the spectrum, I just think about everybody's impacted differently.
Like, I've known people who assume that I had Asperger's just by being socially awkward, right? There's a certain stigma to it.
And I think there is a general stigma about disability or medical condition in general, but especially if you have a hidden disability, which autism is.
The first word that comes to mind when I hear autism is my brother, because he has Asperger's and he's on the autism spectrum. He was diagnosed last summer. He's 16 years old right now, so he was diagnosed right before he turned 16 and right before I went to college. He's never been very socially forward, and so when we would go to shake people's hands, he's always really hesitant and he never really looked in people's eyes. You could kind of tell just how he interacts with children, that he doesn't necessarily interact the same way as they do. It's interesting because you would think that being diagnosed with Asperger's would drastically change how he thinks of himself, but it hasn't really. I think at first it was kind of a shock because he always knew something was different about himself. He's very self-aware, but it hasn't changed his perspective of himself. And with my family, it's not different. He's my brother, and he's always been this way, so nothing's really changed. But it's really changed other people's perspectives of him. People who know he has Asperger's definitely treat him, they kind of tiptoe around him. They treat him with more reserve, and when he does things that are annoying, which are annoying, they just blame it on him having Asperger's. It's almost like a crutch. I honestly couldn't imagine my brother without Asperger's because it's not a diagnosis, it's who he is. It's part of his personality, and it has so much to do with so many other great things about him, like how he is so driven and how he can be so spot on with things. I think that having Asperger's doesn't define his personality, but it's definitely a component of it.
I don't know if I'd call it a disability, but I think it's just like a different way that people have to go about living their lives and use like different resources. It's a disability in the part that they're not like us and that they don't think the same, but if it's a disability that makes them bad and that they should be looked down on, I don't believe that's true.
I think to some point it is a disability, but they have different things that they're good at than I guess what you would consider someone normal.
I feel that autism is a disability in the sense that it's something that you need to work around. It has its own limitations that society ought to provide.
No, I don't see my brother as disabled. I see my brother as more able than me. In a lot of ways, he is.
The students are very bright and creative.
Like someone who's extraordinarily intelligent. I know my ex-girlfriend actually had a cousin who was autistic. It was one of the most brilliant scientific minds I've ever met.
My camper has autism and is very good at drawing cartoons.
My neighbor has autism and he's very good at comforting people.
My best friend's sister has autism, and she graduated with honors from High Point. My friend has autism and is very good at making me laugh. My friend has autism and they're very good at being happy.
Devil dog running strong, never tire. I am my brother's brother, redundant wonder.